should be live now. Hey guys. We'll just give it a minute or two. While we're waiting here, we've got CJ. CJ's doing some testing at the pier today. This is completely not staged, but CJ's working on some parts. He's been running on the Matsuura. So CJ's here today too. We got a few of the people starting to trickle in again. While we're doing that, maybe I'll just swing over on the Haas today. It looks like there's an artist getting to set up. I believe he's doing some tests with parts that can refract light. I think so.
Hi.
There you go. It's always good to see HSM in use.
Yeah, it's very useful.
So useful. And so, have you used CAM software before?
I have the CAM software that should not be named though.
Okay, but you like this better?
So far, yeah.
So far,
I
good.
find more options. Yeah, more parameters to kind of tweak and yeah.
Good, yeah. So there's a few things that happen up here, and honestly, all three are happening today. CJ's testing the software. There's an artist here that's a resident that's exploring new ways to use the tools, and we've got an employee doing his certification part on the DMS. So any Autodesk employees can come in and learn how to use the technology. Looks like about 40 of the people that were on the webinar made their way over. So Angelo, here's the screen you were seeing.
Awesome.
Angelo had this beautiful view while he was working on the machine. I'll move my mic out of the way a little bit. All right, so we're ready to take things over to the machine. It's all yours, Angelo.
All right. So I posted the code to my USB. I'm going to carry that over to the machine. Plug that USB in there. I was playing with some tool paths earlier. That's from previous playing with it. We're going to come over here. We're going to do File, Open. You can see it's pointing to the path already because I was already looking at it earlier. There's my file. You can see the preview here of the toolpath that we generated. In this area here, I select my material thickness, the tool offset, which is the kerf basically. And that's about it. So we got material, no rotation, scaling is one. All these other defaults are good.
Oh, you forgot to do a toolpath around the outside of the part.
We did.
Let's go do that
We
quick.
did.
Put your USB key back in. Angelo got all distracted on this live webinar, but hey, you're seeing it live. I'm sure lots of you shop guys do the same thing. Get to the machine and didn't remember everything.
That's why we're doing this live. All right, so we can do a couple of ways. We can derive a toolpath. I'm just gonna do that. I'm gonna do create derived operation, cutting 2D profile. On the geometry, all I'm gonna do is outer loops, and look, everything is selected. Just a couple of clicks.
So because he did that derived operation, select same plane was already picked.
That's correct. Let's add some tabs in there. Let's try 3 inches and see what happens.
Those are 3-inch wide tabs.
Yeah,
3 inches
right.
apart.
All right, look at that. That looks better. Change that over here. Let's try 2. We're getting a few on the circle. Yep, yep. Let's put it back at 3. I didn't see any here on the circle. Let's put it back to 3. Ah, there's one. Yep. There's one there.
Yeah, I think we're good.
All right. Let's go 2.5.
I'm glad everybody likes this better than Facebook. It's constantly an iterative process, but it's good to hear the feedback that you're liking the tweaks.
Awesome. There we go. That looks better.
All right, so now we have both an operation around the outside and the inside. Let's go ahead and post that again.
All right, so we're gonna go here, we're gonna go post. Keep everything here how it was.
You know what I do love about the YouTube? I'm curious what the rest of you are saying while Angela's doing that. I'm seeing a lot of you talk with each other. On GoToMeeting, we kind of forced ourselves to be the monkey in the middle, but it's nice to see you guys talking to each other.
Got a little error with the USB. There's a problem with this drive.
CJ, you got an extra USB drive? He's having a problem with his USB key.
Yeah, I've got one. Let me grab one after that. Not bad.
Well, you clearly know this is live.
Now we're live, exactly.
I'm curious in the comments how many of you have had problems with SneakerNet walking your USB key to the machine.
The good people at Matsura sent me a new USB. Let's try that.
While he's doing that, I think everybody saw the Matsura. I didn't show. This is the Matsura that CJ had run that part on. We saw. All right, I'm getting feedback that we should be using GoToMeeting or YouTube all the time instead of just for some of the webinars. Ben's the one struggle that we've got, and I'll just be transparent. There's a lot of us that work together on these webinars, and we need to pass the screen back and forth. If that weren't the case, and we could all be in the same spot when we did them, we would probably use YouTube for the whole thing. But we'll try and work through those things.
There we go.
Ah, there we go.
There we go. So there's a preview of the toolpath that we just created. We got an inner and outer. All of this is still good from my previous set. I'm going to hit OK. And there we go. A couple of things we need to do to make sure the machine's in the right place. We got this 60 thou thick of mild steel here. We got it clamped. And we need to set the X and the Y, and then also the Z. So on something like this, we can just eyeball it. It's pretty good. We're going to come over here. So right up here in the upper right, I'm going to jog that over. And then I'm going to move Y down a little bit. That's pretty good. Next thing we need to do is bring the Z to where we want it. So that's kind of far. I can control it from here, but it's a very slow feed rate. So what I'm going to do is at the main control, I'm going to bring it close, jog it down to Z.
All right, maybe I should come back and see the machine
so
going.
what I'm going to do now, I'm going to bring it down to Z. Bring it close.
Yeah.
All right. Now I'm going to come over here. We've got this 80 thou. It's like a feeler gauge, so you get the tip close to the material with this. I'm gonna bring that down. I'm gonna jog it down nice and slow. It is moving very slowly. So we'll see that thing make contact.
You can see that water jet technology is not quite as clean as machining.
Exactly.
It's a lot of sand. If anybody's never used a water jet or doesn't understand a water jet, you can think of water like the paper in sandpaper. Water is simply the binder. It's all this sand you're seeing sitting around that's actually doing the cutting.
Yeah.
There's a lot of dirt in this process.
Yeah. Very dirty.
Let's keep picking this up.
Okay.
I did see a question. Maybe it got answered where we are. So if I point out the window, it might make it a little more obvious. We're on the pier in San Francisco. So I'm going to give Angela a few minutes to keep setting up and see if I can get a nice view out the window of San Francisco. So we're at our Pier 9 workshop in San Francisco.
All right, so we've got the X and Y location where we want it, and we've got the Z where we want it. We need to set the offsets now. So right here, we've got that second row, these numbers here. We need to zero that. So I'm gonna click that. And it says, are you sure you want to reset to 0? I'm gonna hit yes. Over here, on the left, upper left, this is where we set our Z, the Z offset. Again, I confirm it right here. And that's basically it. One other thing we need to do is raise the level of the water. So that's with this right here. So as I push up, it's gonna fill up that tank. Now you can see that the nozzle is underwater. We've got this cup here. It's pretty helpful to keep the splash down, but for this purpose, let's leave it up,
We're
right?
gonna get dangerous. We're gonna be in the splash zone here. I guess
Yeah.
it's just me and you, though.
Do you want it like that,
No,
Al, or
that's
should we
fine.
keep it
It's
covered?
a little more interesting when it's up, but let's go ahead and leave it up. Why not?
Okay, let's leave it up. Yeah, we're
Everybody
living.
in the webinar wants to see us get a little bit wet.
We're living dangerously, and it's gonna wet my hair. My hair is gonna get all wet. Awesome. Okay.
So you may have heard that air. The way the water came up so fast is in the machine. There's actually an air bellows that displaces the water to move it up. So you might have heard a little hissing sound when we raise the water up.
In this area of the machine.
Storage tank in the backside here.
You're right. All right, so that's basically it. So we've posted the code, we've set our X and Y, and we've set our Z. So what we need to do here is just begin machining. Just click on that.
You saw that a little initial pierce where it pierced through the material. Obviously, if we had the boot on, we wouldn't have seen that splash, but otherwise this is fairly boring process. Well, maybe you should put the boot on. Can you pause it and put the boot on?
Yeah. You wait for it to come out. I can even just hit this pause here. I don't know if I'll be able to reach it now.
I don't know if
From
you
that
saw it,
far.
but Angela and I got pretty wet here.
We're doing it live, guys. Doing it live. Okay, so I'm gonna pause it. Hopefully I can reach in there. Yeah. Get a little stretch.
Put that boot down.
All right, the boot's down now. All I gotta do here is hit continue. Right there. There we go.
And clearly there's no splash zone now.
Splash. To bring the water level down.
That's okay.
So sometimes watching a water jet toolpath is like watching paint dry, because you can't really see a whole lot. It's not like a 5-axis milling machine or turning where you can see chips flying.
We maybe should have only cut one or two parts so that we'd have time to see the parts come off. But what's our
Exactly.
runtime here?
Let's take a look and see what it's got.
It's kind of ironic to see the number of people go up when we got to the most boring part of the process. But
So it says we're a minute elapsed and 47 minutes remaining. So we're clearly gonna run out of time.
Well, I'm glad to see a couple of people appreciate the fact that we are somewhat underplanned on this one.
Yeah, we're totally winging it, totally live, and that's how we do it over here. No sense in having a script and all of that and having everything
So
dialed in.
I mean, that's really what we're trying to simulate having this shop is not a completely choreographed testing of the software. That's not very realistic. We really do try and do some real world testing to hopefully catch as much as we can before we get the software to you guys. If we don't catch it, then naturally we just have to respond quickly when you do find things.
Exactly. What I can do, let it go a couple of minutes, and we can pause it and drop the water level down to see what we get.
Yeah, that's a good idea. We'll know when the first part's finished. We'll get a little simulation of where it's at, right?
Yeah. Yes, we do. You can see up
So
here.
yeah, we can see here, just kind of tracing around. So we have a couple people on. I can't type. I'm holding on to the gimbal here, but I do know we've got Renee on. I believe I saw Lars. I saw Mike Matera, who does our documentation. I know that others are also on. So if you have any questions while we're watching this paint dry, feel free to type it in the YouTube chat. I'm sure others will be happy to answer, whether it's directly related to this or any other kind of open question. Let's just try this format for a live communication.
Yeah, and another thing, going back to when I was creating the toolpath, had I just left the heights as default, we wouldn't have got that error when we were posting. But I kind of want to just play with it and show some fumbling around and show some working through some issues.
So I have there's a good question. What's the point of using a 3D cam system for something that's 2D that could be DXF? Well, I mean, it's going to sound funny for us because we're the fathers of DXF at Autodesk. A lot of design is now done in 3D. That's where things start. Many things that are cut on a water jet may be sheet metal. Most of you probably know that sheet metal is now in a private preview, but getting very close to release in Fusion. So that type of content is already 3D. If you do have existing 2D data, there's no disadvantage to loading that directly into a 3D system, and we can obviously select 2D geometry just as easily. It's kind of my first time here. I've got this bi-directional mic. Hopefully you can hear me. I'm kind of talking next to it. Hopefully it's easy to hear.
Now it's cutting the holes on that ring there. You can see where the crosshair is right there. It's cutting the holes. What I can do, we're getting close on time. I could pause it here shortly. Just let me know, Al, when you want me to pause it.
Yeah, I think it's
And
probably a good time.
drop
We
the
want
water
to
level
start
down.
wrapping things up in a little bit here.
Exactly. So I'll pause it when it's positioning over to the next one. So I just paused it right now. What I'm going to do, I'm going to lower the water level right here.
Again, you can hear that bellows going, and now we're starting to hear the water level drop down. Just a little bit of shop planning, actually. It would have been nice to show, but the water jet is usually for doing big sheet goods. There's no reason why you can't cut 1/2 inch, 1 inch plate steel. So logistically, if you're thinking about getting a water jet, it's kind of neat to know we've got the access door directly opposite the water jet. So when we're loading heavy sheet goods in, we can drive straight in with the fork truck to drop it onto the bed. The kinds of things maybe you don't always think about when you're first setting up a shop.
Yeah, one thing I did, you'll notice here, I put some plywood underneath it because when the jet goes down into the tank, it creates an upflow and it would mushroom this. It would pop up in the middle and then...
Okay, so I see that. So
Yeah,
you're
you
actually
see what
cutting through
Correct.
the part
Yep. Through the wood.
and a sacrificial piece of wood.
Correct, correct.
And there's a little bit. Oh, sorry, the gimbal's going funny. There's a little bit of mushrooming happening still right in there.
It wasn't like that when I first set up. I got another piece of wood under here as well. It's just smaller, you can't see it. I just got a couple pieces of scrap put under there. So we didn't get to where we could see the tabs, but pretty much that's about it on the cutting features.
So there was some great feedback this week. Thank you very much for joining us. I saw some comments bouncing around. If you're unaware or you joined us late, in 2 weeks, I believe that's the 21st, send a thing in the comments if I'm wrong. We'll be over at Carl's shop in Berkeley and walk through some of his projects. Is there any other questions, or if not, I'll probably wrap this live feed up in the next few minutes here. Maybe just while we're doing that, I can show some neat other parts that are done on the water jet. So you can see it clearly as a technology that can have very tight corners through very thick parts. This particular machine has what we call an A-jet. Now Fusion doesn't control the 4-axis water jet today, but we can pass the geometry into OMAX make to do it. So you can see cases where draft has been applied to the parts. Sometimes you find yourself in a situation where you design a part that you can't get out, so you have to also with water jet think about how you're going to get the part out if it's tapered.
Exactly. Pretty interesting.
Let's go see. I'm going to see if I can see any questions. Oops. I can't even see the comments. Oh, here they are outside.
There you go.
It looks like we're fairly good on comments here. Oh, where's CJ going? It looks like the comments are good. It seems like there's some good feedback that YouTube worked well. Thank you everybody that joined. If there's nothing else, I'm gonna wrap this thing up.
Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that little demo, doing it live and fumbling through and sorting through some issues and just human error and making a few clicks wrong and that kind of stuff. But we got it sorted out and we got it done.
Thank you guys. See you next week.